If you want to score high on the TOEFL, you need to know something that most candidates don't. The biggest factor separating low-scoring candidates from high-scoring candidates isn't how much they studied, it's how they studied. Using the right strategies for each section is essential. Without them, you can put in a lot of effort and still not get the results you're looking for. We've helped thousands of students prepare this way through our TOEFL packages. They discover how strategic preparation can make a real difference in their results. In this video, you'll get 10 essential preparation tips that cover all 4 sections of the TOEFL: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. By the end, you'll know exactly how to prepare for each section. Let's start with tip number 1. Know the test structure before you start preparing. This might sound obvious, but a lot of candidates skip this step and go straight into practice questions. That's a big mistake. The TOEFL has 4 sections: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. Each section has its own task types, time limits, and scoring criteria, and they all require different skills and strategies. For example, in the reading section, you need to answer questions about academic passages and everyday texts like notices and schedules. In the listening section, you'll hear conversations and academic talks. In writing, you'll write an email and contribute to an online discussion. And in speaking, you'll repeat sentences you hear and answer interview questions. When you understand the full structure going in, you can prepare strategically for every part of the test. You won't be surprised on test day, and you will know what to focus on to achieve a high score. The second tip is to study each section separately. Once you understand the full test structure, the next step is to give each section its own focused preparation. A lot of candidates make the mistake of doing general English practice and hoping it will help them for the TOEFL. But each TOEFL section tests very different skills, and what helps you in reading won't automatically help you in speaking. For reading, you need to practice scanning and identifying key information quickly. You don't have time to read the entire passages in the test. For listening, you need to train your ear to follow conversations and lectures and pick out the details that matter. For writing, you need to know the format of each task type. Writing an email is very different from writing a post for an academic discussion. And for speaking, you need to practice using advanced vocabulary and grammar under time pressure. When you give each section dedicated study time, you can build the right skills in the right areas. Your preparation becomes much more targeted, and that's when many candidates really start to see improvement. Here comes tip number 3. Learn the right reading strategies. In the reading section, a lot of TOEFL candidates try to read every word of the text. This slows you down and hurts your score. To answer the questions correctly, you don't need to understand every detail of the text. What you need to do is find the right information quickly. For example, in the read and academic passage task, the texts are longer and more complex. The questions usually ask about the main purpose of the text or specific details. You can answer most of these questions by scanning for the relevant information. You don't need to read the whole thing word by word. To find the information you need quickly, look for keywords in the questions and scan for them in the passage. If the question asks about the main idea, read the first sentence of each paragraph carefully. This sentence usually tells you what the paragraph is about and can help you identify the main idea of the passage quickly. Learning to read strategically is one of the most effective ways to improve your reading score. Tip number 4 is to take smart notes in TOEFL listening. A lot of candidates try to write down everything they hear. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. The audio moves quickly, and if you're focused on writing, you're not focused on listening. As a result, you end up missing information. The goal of note-taking is not to write everything down. It's to jot down the key details that will help you answer the questions. Things like main ideas, reasons, examples, and important facts. Use short words and simple symbols instead of full sentences. For example, if a speaker gives 2 reasons why something happened, write down just a few words for each reason. That's enough to trigger your memory when you get to the questions. Practice this regularly so you develop a natural sense of what's worth writing down and what you can leave out. That's when your notes really start to work for you. Now, here is something important. Many TOEFL candidates think that knowing a few preparation tips is enough to get a strong result, but it's not enough. To do well in the TOEFL, you need to understand how each section works, what the examiners are looking for, and how to demonstrate those skills in your response. That's exactly what we teach in our TOEFL packages. Our students get step-by-step guidance on how to approach the test effectively, so they feel confident and ready on test day. They learn how the tasks are designed and what skills they need to give high-scoring responses. Our TOEFL packages include lessons for all tasks, sample answers, mock tests, templates, and much more. If you want expert guidance for your TOEFL preparation, click the link below to learn more. Here is tip number 5. Know the scoring criteria for each section. This is one of the most powerful things you can do for your preparation, and most candidates never do it. The TOEFL examiners don't give high scores randomly. They are looking for very specific things in each section, and those things are clearly described in the scoring criteria. If you know what they are, you can give the TOEFL examiners exactly what they want to see. This can significantly boost your score. For the write and email task, for example, the examiners are looking for how well you address all bullet points, whether you use a variety of sentence structures, and whether your language choices are precise and appropriate for the context. For the academic discussion task, they are looking for a relevant, well-developed contribution to the discussion. Your post must use a range of grammar and vocabulary effectively. Let's move on to tip number 6. Master the format of the writing tasks. TOEFL writing includes the build a sentence task and 2 tasks in which you need to produce your own written response. Write an email and write for an academic discussion. These 2 tasks have very different formats. The TOEFL examiners are specifically evaluating whether you understand and follow these formats correctly. For the write an email task, you need to use proper email conventions. That means starting with an appropriate greeting, organizing your email well, and ending with a polite closing. The language should be appropriate too. For example, if you're writing to someone in an official capacity, you need to use formal and respectful language. For the write for an academic discussion task, the format is completely different. Here, you're contributing to an online class discussion. This means your language should be academic, but still feel conversational. You need to state your opinion clearly and support it with well-developed reasoning. Moreover, you need to make sure your contribution actually adds something meaningful to the discussion. It's crucial to be familiar with these differences before test day. If you are not aware of them, you will waste precious time figuring out how to write your response. By contrast, if you know what to expect, you'll recognize the task and know exactly what to do. Tip number 7 is to manage your time carefully in every section. Time pressure is one of the biggest challenges on the TOEFL. A lot of candidates lose points, not because they don't know the answer, but because they run out of time before they get there. Every task has its own time limit. For example, in the writing section, you have 7 minutes for the write an email task. That gives you very little time to plan, write, and review your response. In the interview task, you need to give your responses in 45 seconds. This means you need to be comfortable organizing your ideas quickly and starting to speak without hesitation. The best way to get better at this is to practice with a timer. Don't wait until you take the test to experience time pressure for the first time. When you regularly practice under time conditions, managing your time on test day starts to feel natural rather than stressful. By the way, if you want this channel to keep going, write yes in the comments, click like and subscribe. We only make videos that you actually want to watch. Now, let's continue with 4 more essential tips for your TOEFL preparation. Here is tip number 8. Use advanced vocabulary in TOEFL speaking and writing. Vocabulary range is something the examiners are directly evaluating, so the words you choose really do make a difference to your score. One of the most common patterns in low-scoring responses is word repetition. Many TOEFL candidates use the same basic words again and again, words like good, bad, think, and want. When this happens, it signals to the examiner that your vocabulary is limited and that lowers your score. Instead, use more precise, varied language. For example, don't write, "I think this is a good idea." Instead, you could write, "I contend that this approach would be highly beneficial." The word content shows that you can express an opinion with confidence and precision. The phrase highly beneficial is more specific and more academic than good. Small word choices like these add up across your whole response and show the examiners that you have a strong vocabulary range. Tip number 9 is to focus on your weakest section first. A lot of candidates spend most of their study time on the sections they're already comfortable with. It feels good to practice something you're good at, but it's not the most effective use of your preparation time. The biggest gains come from working on the areas where you're losing the most points. Start by identifying which section is giving you the most trouble. Maybe your reading score is strong, but your speaking responses feel rushed and underdeveloped. Maybe you're confident in writing, but you struggle to follow the listening recordings. Whatever it is, that's where your preparation energy should go first. Once you have brought your weakest section up to a level you're happy with, you can shift your focus to maintaining your stronger sections. This approach makes sure that no single section is dragging your overall score down. Consequently, it gives you the best chance of reaching your target score across the whole test. The last tip is one that every high-scoring candidate follows. Be consistent with your preparation. A lot of candidates study intensively for a few days and then take a long break. Then they do it again. This kind of irregular practice makes it much harder to build the skills and habits that lead to a strong score. When you study consistently, the skills you're building have time to develop properly. This can help you recognize vocabulary faster, follow spoken English more naturally, and write with more confidence. The candidates who score highly on the TOEFL aren't always the ones who started with the strongest English. They're the ones who prepared strategically and consistently. If you want expert guidance for your TOEFL preparation, check out our TOEFL packages using the link below. Our packages include step-by-step guidance, mock tests, templates, and other useful resources to help you feel confident on test day. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. Also, share this video with your friends so they can improve their TOEFL score too. See you in the next video!